Indian classical music is a complex art form because of many reasons that contribute towards making this art form as beautiful as it is. We have a number of reasons. For example, the kind of ragas or scales that exist in Indian classical music is absolutely mind-boggling because there is a huge number of variety in these ragas. And between forms, between the North Indian and South Indian classical music form, the way these rags are sung are highly different. Even though the notes are common, but the way they are sung is very different. And we have something called the concept of gamaks or gamakams, as said in the Indian classical music form. This is nothing but how we approach a note. What are the grace notes that are sung before the main note or after the main note, and how do we glide from one note into the other note, or how do we come into one note from its earlier note. So all of this make Indian classical music this rich. So the way these gamakams are handled in both these systems of music are highly different, and to get them into practice, to apply that in your voice or in your instrument, trust me, is very difficult and requires many years of hard work and practice and diligence into getting this technique or mastering this skill set. Besides this, the composers in India have used so many languages in communicating their ideas through Indian classical music in the form of compositions, abhangs, kritis, kirtanams, bhajans, bandishes, pads, and the list just goes on because the entire country, we have composers composing from the entire country. So imagine the number of languages that they would have sung in praise of the god or the nature or any other theme that they chose. So the sheer number of languages in which compositions are based and compositions are sung in Indian classical music form is mind-blowing. When you come into the concept of laya or talas, again you have a huge variety. There are about 35 different talas basically in Carnatic music form. Of course, you can extrapolate it and improvise it. Similarly, there are many different types of tals in Hindustani classical music form. Even though in practice you probably might be hearing a few number of tals like say ek tal, teen tal or a jhap tal, jhumra, adha. So besides this, you have many different tals that are being used, and you can once again extrapolate and improvise on these tal structures. So there is pretty much no end to making permutations and combinations with these rags and tals in both the systems of music, because as much as how the grammar is rigid in both these forms of Indian classical music, this also gives the artists so much more space to be creative and to improvise on these existing canvas that's being provided to us. So all of these factors make Indian classical music highly complex, and basically it requires a lot of mastery and a lot of hard work to gain expertise in this art form.